What's up, everybody? It's Heems, and guys, we are back with another reaction video. Today we're checking out Death Note Episode 3 Dealings. To everybody, if you remember where we last left off, we had Light Yagami. He was feeling himself, sitting there set up all these different cases of different mass murderers, killers, and was basically getting rid of everybody. But then, of course, like the CIA, the FBI, everyone is like all over trying to figure out how suddenly these people are dying. It's clearly got to be connected to somewhere. And then they send the top dog, L, who already tested and actually messed up one of Light Yagami's moves to kill. And so now the hunt is on as L will make his way over to Light in Japan. So guys, before we go further, as always, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel at Heems Reacts, share the video, share the channel on all social media platforms, online, offline, to your friends, family, fellow content creators, reactors, and streamers alike. To everybody who wants to see this unedited, unfiltered, raw, and uncut, join us on Patreon at Heems Reacts. It's $1 or $1.50 plus tax, but for that $1 you get access to all of our videos early and with 0 edits and 0 filters. Without further ado, let's get this video out.
All right, let's start with the tip line reports.
Yes, sir. Up to this point, we've received 3,029 responses about the murders via telephone and email. Most of these have been curious citizens and prank calls, but there are 14 people who claim to either know Kira or who have seen him. All 14 accounts were followed up on and carefully documented. However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available. And lastly, this week there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira.
My man's, he's getting all types of popularity and stuff out here. Like this Kira, you have them like, they pulling like a, hey, I'm Negan.
We didn't want to rule anything out, so we followed standard procedure and created files for all 21 of them.
Oh, damn.
All right, on to...
Well, that's messed up. You see her call out there like, also like, FBI, open up! They sit there, hit you with, have you doing the, get you.
The victim reports.
Have you doing the bullet dance?
Upon further investigation, we have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Also, concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays, local time, with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule, as the times of death vary much more widely than during the week.
That information is extremely relevant for us. It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a student. Based on the fact that Kira's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has...
Man, he got his homework already figured out on this dude, like within like just two episodes so far. The only thing he ain't figured out is, why don't you come off a different screensaver, man? You go burn your laptop like that. I'm just saying, man. That's still ill. I mean, it's lit. No pun intended. But, damn.
It's a very childish concept of right and wrong.
Quick interjection, too, to everybody. Even though we're doing this as English dub, in the comments below, let me know if you still want the subtitles or no subtitles whatsoever. I appreciate that.
Of course, this is mere speculation at this point, but still I recommend you re-examine any assumptions you've made as to whether or not our suspect could be a student. We must consider every possibility. I believe that is the shortest route to finding and arresting Kira. Please.
Light, you might want to turn into a high school dropout at this point. I'm sorry. You're just going to tell your mom, what you about to... Son, why'd you quit school? I'm going to sell crack. I'm out. That's your best alibi.
Please continue with your report.
Oh, right. Does anyone else have something they'd like to add?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Matsuda?
Well, I'm not saying this to support Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the world, but especially here in Japan, we've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
Well, I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen. Anything else?
I'm just saying, that's kind of a good thing, right? You know?
Well, that about sums up our report for today. Elle?
Thank you, everyone. I feel we're one step closer to finding Kira. Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. This is directed to the teams investigating the victims, TV news, and internet. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos of the victims were made available to the public in Japan.
I'll leave it to you.
Chief! You look like you could use one of these. Sleeping much?
Thank you. That'll do.
Because I know, like, as far as, and he's already suspected that, but, like, you gotta have that visual and the intention as you write the name. Otherwise, you just can't just be scribbling, like, you know, don't have it, and then just assume that it's gonna work. And you have to do it within that time frame. Otherwise, like, you have the heart attack or it's a wrap.
Do the trick.
Especially
I
the
feel all
cost.
these late nights are starting to take their toll.
About what I said earlier at our meeting. Well, now that I think about it, I'm sure everyone already knew that. I wanted to apologize.
What on earth are you talking about? Nobody said it would be easy to speak the truth, but it has to be done, especially when it's something that isn't easy to say.
Huh?
Having said that, if you'd gone on to say that we should commend Kira for doing such a great job of reducing violent crime, then yes, I might have had a little problem with that.
Oh no, no I wouldn't. That would never happen.
I'm just kidding.
I knew I could.
I was about to say, because I mean, you ain't got to worry about that. Everybody can be cool. We all can, you know. It's just a hard. No, let me stop.
Count on you, Light.
Ryu kills me with them eyes, man. Like, damn.
Hey, so do you think you're ready to try a few on your own now?
Huh? Yeah, I guess so. Oh.
I was kind of hoping you would kind of do like 95 to pretty much 100% of my homework, if you don't mind.
Sounds
Thank
like
you,
Dad's
big bro.
home.
Welcome home, dear.
Thank you.
He's home really early today.
Hey! Why don't you at least try the last problem by yourself?
I will, but maybe after dinner.
Damn.
Yeah, right.
Helping your sister with her homework, you sure are relaxed.
Of course. If the police try to come after me, I'm pretty confident I've got something that'll give me the advantage.
Well, you mean arson, man, and burning your whole that's messed up, man.
Hey, glad you could join us for dinner. You hungry, Dad?
That look on his face, it's like that psychotic. You see that? That's the eyes of a murderer.
Yeah, it's been a long day. So, Light, tell me, how are your studies going?
Everything's okay, I guess.
Whatever. He's at the top of his class. My big brother's a genius.
That's my son. We're all proud of you, Light.
Is everything okay, Dad? You look tired.
Yeah, I'm not able to say too much about it, but this case I'm working on now is really tough.
I see. Well, Daddy's a policeman. And that must be the reason why you're so confident.
That's right. It's easy for me to hack into Dad's computer. We're on a home network, so I can copy the files I need without leaving a trace. This way I can keep track of their investigation.
Man, well, I wonder what his dad's password is. Damn.
Here we go. Well, isn't that interesting? Looks like the...
Like, what you looking at right now, son? Like, nothing. I'm just watching some corn right now. What? Light, what are you're supposed to be... it's research, biology research, I swear.
police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
That fast.
If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That sound right to you, Ryuk?
So what's your point?
In other words, if I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I? Looks like I'll be able to provide you with more entertainment now.
Yo, CEO! Can you bring the hot water, please, man? He don't want to spread no more. Like, he don't want them noodles. I can go ahead and make my brick right now. I think he'd be all right.
Inmate 148, what's wrong? Snap out of it!
Can't snap out of it. Got the case of the death. Like, this dude is literally going through like a whole full school routine the entire time. Meanwhile, everybody's sitting their heart exploding outside their chest.
What? I don't believe this. Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
Yes.
The day before, there were another 23 victims. He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
Considering that this new pattern has been going on for 2 weekdays,
it does punch some holes in the theory that our suspect is a student.
Maybe not. Anybody can skip 2 days of school.
You're missing the point. It does appear less likely now that Kira's a student. But that's not the message he's sending by doing this. Ask yourselves, why every hour? And why are all these victims in prisons where they are sure to be discovered immediately? Why not other criminals like before? I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
But something's not right. As soon as we began to suspect that Kira might be a student, the pacing of the killings changed, as if to
because that's kind of killing me too. It's like, okay, before 40 seconds the person will die, but then like in the next, I believe, like 4 to 6 minutes or so, if I butcher that, let me know. But like as if afterwards you have to write specifically the certain time of death, but now he can actually write the time of the actual death. So basically skip ahead and plan already.
contradict that theory. Coincidence? No. Too convenient. This can only mean that Kira has access to police information. It's obvious now. This is a direct challenge to me.
I'd say L is probably starting to sweat a little by now. What'll really make his job difficult is that I've deliberately left about 50 criminals alive for times like this.
Oh?
If L's as good as they say, by now he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
So Kira has found a way to obtain information from the task force headquarters. This is one fact that cannot be ignored. But what does he get out of all this? What is he hoping to achieve in the end?
There's one thing I don't get. Showing them you have connections to the police makes it easier for them to find you than when they just suspected you were a student.
Well, my real agenda is to get close to L so I can eliminate him.
How are you gonna do that?
You still don't understand human beings. In this world, there are very few people who actually trust each other. And it's no different for the police, you know. What's especially important is that L and the investigators don't trust each other at all. Think about it. Could you trust someone whose name and face you don't even...
Yeah, throw a whole debacle and like have everybody against one another, because that being said, a police, that could be anybody, that could be any family member at that time.
know? When L discovers that I'm somehow getting confidential information, he'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak. When that happens, it'll only be a matter of time before the police start resenting L. On the surface, it will appear that L and the investigation team are working together to try to catch me. But in reality, L will investigate the police, and they will be investigating L. I'm not the one who's going to find L. I can let the police do that for me. And when they do, that's when I'll eliminate him.
Assume if he gives you his full name. And it's interesting because, like, right here where it says that part about the image and stuff, like, L's already thinking of that theory that he can actually, like, as far as, like, pictures, stuff like that, like, if he sees a visual, like, what can he do? And yet that's what he needs. He has to have the image, or at least the picture in his mind after having seen the image, to be able to write that down and place it in the book.
What's this about?
With all due respect, Chief, we're resigning.
Traitor!
We demand that you assign us to a different case. Otherwise, you can have our badges right here and now.
Why? You're good cops.
Isn't it clear? It's because we value our lives, sir.
If what El says is true, Kira has some ESP-like power that somehow allows him to kill people indirectly, from anywhere.
Well, if I were Kira, sir, I'd probably want to try and get rid of the people who are trying to catch me.
Let's face it, he knows he'll be sentenced to death if he's caught.
We all sat here and watched when El decided to pull that media stunt and challenge Kira to kill him. Well, it was all very impressive at the time. But then again, El never had to show his face or reveal his name, for that matter. I'm sure you recall El's last request. He asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public, and specifically to determine whether photos of the victims were available to the public prior to their deaths. Well, it turns out he was right. Every single one of those victims' names and photos were broadcast to the Japanese public, and then they died. Unlike someone we know, we're out there investigating this case wearing police IDs with our names and photos on them. Anybody with a computer can find out who we are. We don't hide our faces, we're out in the open.
Sir, the truth is we could be killed by Kira at any time.
For these reasons, we refuse to continue working this case. Excuse us, Chief.
Hey, stop! All of you! Hold it right there!
I ain't like, man, fuck y'all. I'll quit. Like, I ain't about to see her. And you know, it'd be fucked up. They actually walk out, the car explode right then and there. That's like, see, he's right. And then everybody storms out. But it's like, that's not like necessarily his aim. But yeah, you cross that bridge when we get there. But no, it's like, I don't know. If I was like,
in order to solve this problem, we must.
If I was in that situation, I don't know. I'd probably have to quit too, because I'm like, yeah, this is kind of close. You know what I'm saying? And the dude just say, you know, everybody. And I wonder at that point, like, if Light just wanted to, man, could he just like just write every single person that he could think of, like, and just call it a day? Even just because, like, of course he needs, like, the visual stuff. Like, hell, he already got, like, even like his classmates, his principal, everybody, teachers, like.
Establish the concept that x squared equals large x. Now pay attention, because this is important. Before we tackle more complex quadratic equations, we have to start thinking of large x's value as simply the multiple of two integers. Now, let's apply this concept to our first problem.
We brought the FBI to Japan 4 days ago. They're fully operational. As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
And this is...
Homie, already right there on that corner.
The complete list?
Yes.
There are 141 people in the police force who have access to classified information regarding the investigation. I am sure that somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
Light, you got a second?
I already told you you can't talk to me in public. How many times do I have to tell you?
In that case, I'll talk, you just listen. If you don't want to hear me, you can plug your ears or something. First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person. I'm here because I have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or El's side.
Yeah, well, I knew that much already.
Yeah, remember that, fool. Definitely remember that, because you're going to need that, player.
Never hear me say anything about whether what you're doing is right or wrong. I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion. I'm just a spectator. But as your roommate, I might have a few things to say now and then.
What's this about, Ryuk? Why are you telling me all this stuff now anyway? It's really not like you.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm going to tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
Ooh. Yep, keep walking. Don't make it obvious. Don't make it obvious. Tie your shoe. Drop a deuce. Do something real quick. Here's the only thing. It's like he's a spectator. Yet it's pretty much just it's all a game. It's a game to Light, or is and what he's trying to do and how he's trying to run the play. But like it's just an even bigger game to like Ryu, because like you said, he ain't on either side, and it could go either way. However this goes, he just wants to see how this all turns out. Like damn. But yet you still help him.
It's really starting to get on my nerves. I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible. Who would be following me? Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police?
Really
if
quick,
he's gonna
too.
investigate the police, he'll need a lot of resources and manpower. Even if he has as many as 50 people on the case, I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira. I shouldn't look like anything other than your average high school senior. But the longer I let this person keep following me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. Above all, I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
Light.
Which will only like make this 10 times more worse. That it just so happened that the person he was supposed to follow dies, and you definitely put a target on your back play. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes? You got any ideas?
Of course not. Why would I know that? You sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for ourselves.
Huh? Wait, what do you mean by that?
Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40. 60 minus 40 equals 20. Now those...
Oh, you could cuss somebody? Man, you ain't... That's fucked up. You sit there and look like... he got like, wow. 104 years old? 22. Like, just cough 80 years of your shit.
20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life. So it means that as long as we don't slack off, even if someone was to shoot us in the head or stab us in the heart with a knife, a god of death cannot die. On the other hand, no matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase. That is the first difference between gods of death and humans who possess a death note.
And then what happens when you don't keep up with writing in the death note as a Shinigami? What happens after that point? Because you need the years to add to you.
That's something about Shinigami that I haven't heard before. Pretty interesting stuff.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Though this has less to do with lengthening life and more to do with cutting it short.
What do you mean cutting it short?
Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly. And do you have any idea why? Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above their head. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Their name and lifespan?
That's right. I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now. If I converted that to human time, I could tell you how many years you've got left. But there's no way I'd ever tell you that. I may have a big mouth.
That's messed up. He like, you could be sitting down tomorrow stuff. He's not gonna tell you. He just gonna wait.
But even I wouldn't go that far. Shinigami never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. And every time we...
And look at that silhouette and that shadow in the background with Ryuk. Like, it's still that creepy gothic kind of monstrous kind of look, but it's that skeletal kind of look and feel like it's more amplified, like in the shadow, in the background.
Do take a life, we always know exactly how many years we're going to receive. Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I. However, if a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami. But only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
And what's the deal?
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is.
Half of my remaining lifespan.
That's kind of a lot. But I mean, hey, if we're gonna have to pull a Madara or an Itachi move on this one.
Yeah. In other words, if you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25. If it was one more year, then 6 months.
Oh.
I see. And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you wouldn't just give me the names of people I want to kill. Basically, you're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
That's right. It's a key part of the code that all Shinigami are bound by. I'll say this once more. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
If I agree, I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them. If I had that power, the Death Note would only be easier to use.
So, what'll it be, Light? Is it a deal?
Man, this brings back nostalgia. This, I'm telling you. And it's the intensity. And it's like, it's stuff you don't pay attention to that you see now. Even like I said, that they do everything intentional. It's like basically even making the deal with the devil, so to speak. And then you can sit there and literally see that kind of demonic, the teeth, the fangs, the death, and then like just death itself, of course, because it's Shinigami, Soul Reaper, you know, so forth. But to see all that interaction, to see like L, like the way he just sat there and like is like pretty much right on point with everything. It hasn't even been that long since L even jumped on the case and already figured it out, proved the limitations of what can and can't be done necessarily with the Death Note. And yet at the same time come with different theories along the way and actually figuring out the rules without actually having it in front of him. And at the same time, like Light, he's no slouch in and of himself. Like, he knows how far to take it, and the way he even designed it and even like theorized and hypothesized of as far as like with the overall investigation and what route they may go as far as with how they're going to try to cover grounds to make the necessary steps that he's doing to try to like divvy everything up accordingly to like throw their scent off, but ever so slightly, but not enough 100%, but just enough to like get them spinning. So much so that you got even like people are so that the FBI talking about they want to quit, they want to leave, and yet now you got somebody that's hot on Light's tail. All in all, an amazing show. It's an absolute must. I strongly recommend to everybody. Check it out. If you like the reaction, the commentary, and more, please hit the like button at Heems Reacts. To anybody that wants to see this unedited, raw, and uncut, join us on Patreon at Heems Reacts. It's $1 or $1.50, but for that $1, you get access to everything early, unedited, and unfiltered. To anybody that wants to see me live and game, I'm on Heems Cast Gaming. Until the next video.